Hey y'all, welcome to episode 45 of the Stay at Home Son podcast. And today I have a special episode. And I know I say that every week, but this week I truly mean it because today with us we have a quadruple platinum recording artist, producer, and guitarist, Kevin Rudolf, everyone. I want to give you all a warm welcome to the show, man. Welcome to on.
Cool, man. Thanks for having me.
So I guess the first question I got for you, Kevin, man, before all the success, before everything, you were just a kid with a dream. So if you want to go back to your early musical days and kind of like making that first push on to becoming an industry musician.
Well, I was always a guitar player as a kid. I started playing guitar when I was about 11 or 12, and my first sort of sign of success was I was in Guitar World magazine when I was 14, and I played in a lot of bands growing up in New York and like the Lower East Side, and when that whole thing was, well, I guess it's still happening, but when it was what it was, and then I got a record deal and with a label called Maverick and with a project called Binocular. And before that, I always wanted to expand. I was like, man, I love playing in bands, but it's like I need control of my project. So I had a little MIDI set up with a keyboard and everything. Started making some hip hop and then some dance music and like just playing in different worlds. And then I got a deal as an artist and did that for a few years. And then I'm giving you the very 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 short version of this, but after that, I was like, man, I want to be a producer. Like, I don't want to deal with all this shit, And I at the time I had met my friend Jimmy Douglas, who's still a good friend of mine. He was engineering, mixing, producing with Timbaland and on all those, Missy Elliott, Justin Timberlake, Jay-Z. It was that early 2000s, and so from there, that's what really got me like inside the industry and seeing like, okay, like I can do this or I can't, or but that was like the main catalyst. And then it was from there, it was Cash Money, and there's a lot of stuff in there.
When you were in those like early studio sessions with like people like Timberland and all those great players and producers and stuff, how did you like kind of learn to assert yourself as like a musician and kind of start like going in there and saying, "Hey, I got this now too."
Well, I think in that you got to read every room and read every situation, and they're all different. How I was like my mode of being when I was an artist on Maverick was very different than when I was just more of like a fly on the wall in like a Timbaland session. But the difference was that I was really excited to be there. So I think you should always place yourself where you're really excited to be. I think you should always place yourself where you can learn and there's energy, and something inside your body is going, "Oh man, I want to do that. I want to be here." You know. And then it's just finding a way to make some kind of contribution. So for example, in the situation with Timbaland, I was like, well, these guys don't play guitar and I can play guitar and I've been doing this forever. And I saw the reaction when I would walk into those rooms working with a lot of, more hip hop artists. I'd be like, man, dog, play that guitar, do that thing. And I was like, I've been doing this since I was a kid. I'm bored already, but okay. So I started doing that stuff and they were really excited. So I was like, well, maybe this is my ticket and my way in and through that side of things. And I think it's always cool to be in a situation where I don't want to say there's no competition, but where you can carve out your own lane of contribution. If there's something that you can do that they can't do, that you can add value, then you make yourself valuable. But for me, I was just there to learn. I was just there to like, I was like, I want those drums. I want to hear those textures. I love the way those records sounded. I just wanted to be inside it. So I didn't feel like I was trying to get somewhere more than I just wanted to soak it all in.
Speaking of musical diversity, I saw that you actually were part of the track A Little Bit of Everything with Keith Urban. So you even dipped into the country world a little bit.
Yeah.
And I also love that song. I remember when it was playing on the
Oh,
radio a
cool,
bunch
man.
up here. So it's cool to see that you were involved on that. So what was that like, man, making that shift to country and meeting those people?
That was really amazing, and it was. I'm gonna just turn this down here because it might be making it too loud. Um, that was just my. It was going to Nashville for 2 days, and there I had two songwriting sessions set up, and one of them was with one songwriter, and one of them was with these brothers, the Warren brothers, and we just wrote that song that day, and then nothing happened with it. I sent it in, and everyone, yeah, it's great, it's on hold, all that stuff. But when I was mixing one of my songs with my friend Serban, who's like he's like the biggest mixer of all time. So I went up to Virginia Beach, and this guy Dan, who was, I guess he was A&Ring it. He used to be like the head of EMI, and he was a friend. He's a real cool guy, and he's like, Kevin, you got any songs for Keith Urban? And I was like, yeah, I got these like two songs. I went to Nashville for 2 days. I sent it to him. He calls back 10 minutes later. It's like, this is the first single. Keith loves it. We love it. I was like, great. And it's funny to say that because I went back to Nashville after that and moved there for a couple of years because I loved it, and nothing else happened from that whole experience other than still that one song.
Was there ever like kind of like a backup plan if like you didn't if like you no longer wanted to do music or if like music didn't work out or anything like that?
Yeah, I mean, I would quit and start again 500 times, and I still feel that way. Like you can quit at 3 and start again at 5. You can quit today and start again tomorrow. Sometimes it's good to quit and then just come back to it because it's never done. You know what I mean? Unless you fully really decide you're not, gonna ever engage in music again, which I don't think is possible for anyone who grew up doing it. I've had moments where I'm like, oh, I'm done with this, but it sort of never you can't leave the game.
And I think it's never been a better time for like creatives to get their art out there and kind of make that little legacy that you were talking about earlier. So what's your kind of your opinions on like the modern creative landscape and kind of like how so many new opportunities for people?
It's so different, man. It is so, so, so different on so many levels. I can't even begin to explain, and everything that I thought was gonna happen has happened, and it's happened even more than I thought. What I mean by that is like, you know, when I started out, there was only one way through, and you were gonna sit in your room or with a band or however you did it, or you went to a studio, and you would make something, and hopefully that would be a song, then an album, a project, something. You were making your product. Kind of sounds kind of like ruthless to say that, but in a way, I was putting all of my energy into making something that would take me where I wanted to go. And the next step of doing that is then a manager or a label or someone hearing it who held the keys to somewhere at that time, and them saying, wow, this is amazing. I'm going to go play it for so and so. And then go play it for so and so. And then so says, this is amazing. We got to do this. And then it just generate momentum based on only these people's opinion of the music, right? So then the next step would be taken. You get a record deal, then radio, then all the things that followed that. And that's no longer the case. So it's both great and not great. You have to really create the whole thing, including the fan base, including the attention, including some sort of moment or some sort of community that really is so viable that either A, it's working by itself and you're getting your streams and views and likes and all those things, or in addition to that, someone else, a label comes on board and helps facilitate that process. And that's not a bad thing either. People are against major labels. Like, labels are just people. You know what I mean? Like, if you have the right people at the label, if you have a relationship with someone who's really fighting for you, can make something happen for you, it has tremendous value. What's the deal with your podcast? I'm interested in what you're doing. You got the whole filmmaking thing. I said yes to this because I'm excited about what you're doing.
Oh, we appreciate that, man. So basically, we're independent filmmakers. We made our first film outside of college, right? Our final semester of college, we made a film called Payne's Branch, and it got licensed for a global streaming. We're on Foster, we're on Stash TV, and we recently found out that we're going to be on Tubi soon, so that's going to be pretty cool. And
Amazing. What's the name of the movie?
it's called Payne's Branch. Payne's Branch. It's
Payne's
a
Branch.
yeah,
Okay.
it's a found footage horror movie. We made it found footage because it's kind of cheaper that way with like the equipment and stuff. You don't have to get a whole cast and crew. I mean, we act in it, we videotape it, we did basically everything for it, and
Sick.
yeah, we wanted to start a podcast to talk to other filmmakers and other creatives.
I like filmmaking and I'm interested in that. So like that's exciting to me. So I want to hear
Yeah.
about your process.
Yeah, well, definitely. Well, I think that the music world and filmmaking are kind of in the same spot where it's like you have to do it yourself. You have to build that
Yeah.
audience yourself. You have to find that group. And I feel like the musicians, because like I make music too and stuff, and I kind of it's more of like a hobby. I'm more into filmmaking, like seriously. And I feel like musicians have been better at self-branding themselves. And I feel like a lot of filmmakers nowadays are still waiting for, a distributor or a deal to come out for them. And it's like you got to go and build that
It's a
audience.
little, yeah, it's like a little bit behind, which is why I like it because, the idea is that you can still, make your, making a song can take you like 20 minutes, but you can't make a movie in 20 minutes. You know what I mean? Like there's it's why I still respect, you know, books, being an author, authors, filmmakers, because the barrier of entry is still so high, and you just can't like whip a film and like turn it takes effort. You got to learn the craft. It's casting. There's editing, coloring. There's so many things that are interesting about it. Same thing with writing a book. It's like anyone can like write an Instagram post or a letter or an email, but like sitting down to write a book for 6 months or a year or 5 years, there's it's hard. So it requires like the people who shouldn't be doing it fall off in that process. And that's what I like, because I like things that are hard and I like things that are, that require effort and craft and learning. So it's like, to me, filmmaking in general is fascinating. Like everything about it, cinematography, the writing, the thing, just lighting is fascinating.
Yeah, it's definitely a
Do you have
synthesis of a lot of skills that we had to put together. And a lot of sleeping on the floor of college apartments too, trying to get that thing done. So it's definitely a struggle. It's something that you can't really, you can't just make a few songs and put up like a filmmaking. You really got to commit to that process
No,
all the way through.
definitely remember all that? We have some photos that we can
Yeah.
share. Do you have like a favorite genre of film? Because our favorite genre is
I
definitely
do.
horror. We
I do love horror movies. I'm more, if I were to go horror, I would have to be more like 80s slasher. I
Yes.
have like real subgroups of movies that I love. You know, like I love Woody Allen movies. I love Spike Lee movies. I love foreign films. I love probably my favorite genre of all is I like 80s movies, but I'm not talking about The Breakfast Club, and I'm talking about like The Wildlife, obviously Fast Times at Ridgemont High. I I like like hilarious. I like Hard Bodies 3 and Sleepaway Camp 2. Like I love like real, like there was something about film then, which is why I'm so interested in film, which is why I love movies shot on film so much. There's just something, I don't know. I just grew up like watching like HBO at like 3 o'clock in the morning, so it's probably like part of my whole thing. But I just love film. I love everything about it. Like I love it.
Yeah, there's a lot of cool stuff going on in film right now. I mean, every week we just recently talked to a filmmaker in Russia, and he was talking about how there's so much like it's so hard to like get a certain genre out there because they're very selective of what they put and they're very like
Yeah.
censory and stuff. So he made like this really cool like sci-fi short film, which is really hard to do on a low budget, like a
Yeah,
sci-fi
it's
on like
sick.
$2,000. It's crazy. But he
Yeah.
did that thing and it was pretty good. And we just recently talked to him. And having the podcast, it's been really cool because it's opened us up to so many different people. And we learn a lot from it too.
Do you feel like a lot of filmmakers, because it seems like, and they talk about in music, there's 100,000 songs uploaded a day, and now everyone's like got AI, like everyone's just like, oh my God, I made a song. It's like, dude, you didn't make it, you just typed something in.
Yeah.
It's cool, it's fine. That would be like me typing in create 80s horror slasher movie with a lead actress, and I mean, yeah, sure, if it spit it out, it'd be great, but not really, because what's the fun of that? Um, anyway, but do you find like the mentality is still like, all right, I have to make a complete film, or I have to make a short film, or I'm making more of a YouTube series that could be turned into a film? Like, what's like the temperature out there, like with that stuff?
Yeah.
I think
Well,
we just go as we go, right, Jake?
what was
Like,
that, Tom's?
I think we just kind of like do it as we go, right? Because like when we made Payne's Brand, you gave me like a beat sheet and you said, okay, this is going to be scene one, and it kind of like adds up to see like how long it is. It's not necessarily planned like a short or long film.
Right.
Yeah, we like to do features because I feel like I'm trying to like, build a lineage of things in my life and say,
Yeah.
hey, this is the moment. If I'm gonna sacrifice all this money and all this time, I really want a long, full thought out project. But a lot of people like shorts, but like the thing with shorts is like a lot of people are doing them because they're hoping to get funding for the feature. So
Right.
it's very like
It's like a demo back in the day. It's like you can't like you even if a feature sucks, you can still sell it. Like it's a you made a product. Like it's a sellable product. Like you
exactly.
can't do anything with a short other than go, "Look what I made. Can I have money?"
Yeah, exactly. And that's what a lot of it is, a lot of short filmmakers. And what's crazy is like, me and Thomas kind of we like this style of filmmaking called mumblecore filmmaking. It was real
I know
popular.
it.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
real
know.
popular in the early 2000s. And
Yeah,
we
yeah.
liked it because it seems so accessible. Like we could
It is
really
because it's like I read this great book. It was like from the '90s, so it's like all the advice in the book is like, well, okay, first you got to rent your 35 millimeter camera, then you got, and I was like,
yeah.
okay, but it's a really great book. It's called, it always says the first your first film should be a courtroom drama, which means it takes place in one location, actors, because the whole thing with film, as you know, is like location. The minute you have to start moving people around, so mumblecore was like so great because it was like it was just the thick of the relationship, and you're gonna say something and create tension, and then but it was all like it just you don't have to go anywhere, you don't have to rent anything. It's just a camera, a microphone, and it's just dialogue.
Yeah, it was the first thing like when I saw Mark Duplass's work, I was like, this is the first time I saw something that seemed accessible to me, like
Yeah,
as a
for
filmmaker. I was like,
sure.
it inspired me to pick up the camera for sure. And
Yeah.
we made that first film. We got so lucky with location because we were in Boone, North Carolina. I'm not sure if you're familiar with that area, but it's a
Hmm.
beautiful area. So we had all this natural like free props and stuff, and it was
Yeah,
just a great
awesome.
experience. It was a great experience for sure.
It's so cool. And what are you working on next?
Right now, we have a documentary that we shot on a small town called Alfred, New York. So we're trying to go into Boondocks, which is like a regional film festival. And we were always very interested in that area because, a lot of people think about Appalachia, but they don't think New York's part of that. But New York is part of the Appalachian Mountains. So we
Right.
kind of went to go talk to them and get to know like, what their culture's like. And we even asked them if they consider themselves Appalachian. And I have it all edited. I'm about to have Thomas over this weekend and we're going to try to get it, finished and see if he likes it and put it out there for some festivals.
That's sick, man. I believe in the dream. Like I love film. It's so great, man. Good for you
Appreciate it.
for doing that. Seriously, it's more for me. It's just I've been doing music for so long. It's like when I talk about like it's like the same stuff over and over and over, and I'm like excited about film. Like I love film. Like I'm excited about like I just think there's so many levers you can pull with film. There's so many things that haven't been explored. There's so many genre is sort of I think always imprisons music in a certain way where if I make a song, right, and I put
Yeah.
like a gated snare drum on it, okay, that's it. You don't nothing else 80s, like but you would say, "Oh my god, it sounds 80s." Because of the snare drum. I just told you what the song is with one little thing. That's like pulling a lever sonically, right? And when you make music, people say, "Oh, that sounds like that." Oh, this. They're always chasing like some kind of reference point, whether they're being their own like library of music or their own just experience. And with film, it's probably the same thing, but I always feel like you can blur things more. You can get super like esoteric. You don't have to. Again, I'm on the outside of it, so I don't know the rules, and I don't know. I'm sure every studio after what's the movie yeah,
Yeah.
Obsession. I'm sure
Upset.
everyone's like, okay, give me a horror thriller done by a YouTube guy. Okay, they love horror because it's low budget. You don't need big actors, and there's an audience for it like built in. You're not convincing anybody. Like people who like horror movies tend to see the newest horror movies, so there's an opening for it. But it's just fascinating. Like I always think about experimenting with film and just trying completely like wild things that no one would ever try. I don't know how it would come out, but
Well, shoot, man.
cool.
If you ever want to come down with Stay at Home Sun Productions, man, we can we could definitely get you on
Yeah,
a film
man.
or something like that for sure.
Do you feel like when you're writing something that a constraint, like, are you like, I can't do that because we'd need to like rent out the whole auditorium, or I can't do that because I'd need like three car mounts or something like that? Do you find like that inhibits you as a writer, or do you feel like that is just like you'll figure that out later or tailor it later after it's written?
Yeah, I feel like I've been lucky with that because I feel like I'm so inspired by just what's around me. So I seem like the ideas I have are very stuff that I could really, that's accessible to me. So I've never
Yeah.
really thought too big out the box. And a lot of people in filmmaking circles are like, "Yo, you should think about doing it like this and doing it like this." And I'm just like, but I feel like I have a little world right here that I can do affordably and I could
Yeah.
still tell a good story with it, you know? So I
Yeah, I
never
think
really
that's
had
what it's
that issue.
about.
Yeah.
I think if you can find like a niche and a way of doing things and then, put do it with the best story, the best characters, the best, all those things really working, it doesn't matter how you do it. The limitation will end up helping you.
And I'm
Yeah.
gonna say off of that, I think, and Jake, I don't know if you agree with me. I think the hardest part with accessibility was maybe getting the equipment, but we were blessed to have the equipment from school since we were still in school.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
great.
Yeah, we didn't go to film school. We actually studied like journalism broadcast, but like those
Hmm.
broadcast cameras are very like low budget way to like hold
Yeah,
handheld
those
type
are
stuff.
awesome.
Yeah, so we learned how to use all those and we just started shooting stuff. I mean, we were taught like how to shoot like news packages and stuff. We said, "Hey, let's just make film with this way."
Sick. I'm gonna look up Pain, what is it?
Payne's Branch. Yeah. I can
Pain's
send you the
Branch.
link to it. Yeah, we're
Yeah,
on
please do,
Fossum.
man. I would really like to see that.
I appreciate you, man. Yeah, we're doing pretty good on YouTube. We got like 11,000 views right now, which we're pretty happy about for a
Sick.
feature. Yeah, we were pretty happy about that. But like I said, the best things, man, just been doing this podcast and getting to, meet a community and get to introduce ourselves to new people and get to, spread our work and they get to spread their
Well, I
work with
just like
us.
talking shit about things I'm interested in, you know what I mean? So it's cool to do. It's like I respect the craft of filmmaking, and I mean, maybe it's because I'm used to music. It seems like, oh, everybody's a laptop, everybody's a microphone, everybody's a me, but I like how hard it is to make a movie. I like that because it's like it's just not doable for the average person. And I think it's cool. So
I,
I have a lot of respect for people who just to complete a feature film. To me, whether it makes $1 or it's the biggest thing in the world, like that's a major achievement. You should be proud of that.
well, we appreciate that, man. Yeah, and I kind of like what you said earlier too. Like filmmaking really does weed out people because
Yup.
it's like if it's you can't fake it. You have to go all the way through because it's too much you have to
Yeah.
sacrifice.
It's funny. It's funny, and even as a parallel to music, it's like I think about that. It's like there's very little weeding anybody out anymore because it's so easy to make. It's so easy to post. And you can basically put it in every record store in the world in like a couple clicks. But what's weeding them out, I think, is consistency over time, and I think that wasn't important before. You just had to. The consistency part was just was in getting good enough to the point where you could make something that someone else would say, "You're it, kid." But now the consistency is with the posting and the branding and the video and the thing and the post. Like that's where people are like, oh, like I have to do all this extra work, and I get it, and that's it's a lot. It's a lot, but it's cool. I respect filmmakers, and I respect it. Anyone who features, finished a feature film in my book is like, you made it.
Well, we really appreciate that, man. It means a lot.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much, guys.
Yeah,
Good
man. I'll
luck with
see you.
everything. I'm gonna check out Payne's Branch.
I'll send you the link to it.
Please do, man.
All right.
Okay. Thanks, guys.
All right. See you, Kevin.
And remember, stay at home.
You heard it.